Chapter 75, Bentley.
"What do you know about the Order's operations in Haiti?" asks Carmelita. Jeanette doesn't answer immediately. "Only that it went very bumpily, and that we now have to keep a down low in the operation." And said operation? I don't honestly know. These things are not really talked about with me. I'm just an engineer. Although, Jeanette gestures to the car hangar, I recently saw parts for the installation of a corporate bank-sized safe. It's been 24/7 guarded, but from what I've seen, if built, it could be the size of a bedroom, and no one without the proper code would be able to get in. "Can you take us to it?" asks Penelope. "If no one actually sees us, then sure. But something goes wrong, you guys completely forced me into this." Along the way, I make Jeanette take a few pit stops. We go into the actual car shop. Some giant bulldog similar to Mugshot guarding it, we have to sneak around. He's more colored than the others, but by not touching him and not deliberately trying to bring him into the trance, he still doesn't see us. There are banners and shirts displaying the shop as Wheel Grip Auto Hut. I make a mental note of that, Wheel Grip Auto Hut. The shop is open to customers, but assuming there are security cameras and a cashier always keeping eyes in place, we will have to be extra careful if we go this route. People will undoubtedly know what we look like. Back in the yard, there are a lot of different doors. Jeanette says one leads to a cafeteria that is never really locked, and another is apparently a very badly lit room that holds files and car parts for unusual pop-ins. A big sign saying orders is hanging above it. I ask her if she knows of a sewer line or something that would travel underneath here, and she says there is one in the big garage. Quick interruption, says McSweeney. We shouldn't forget about the guru. Who? Asks Jeanette. We'll catch you up later, says Penelope. And Mr. McSweeney's right. Once we have the place mapped out, then we'll focus on that again. So, Jeanette, does my dad still code his office? Yeah, and he changed it recently. I found out through some eavesdropping the code is 1198. Well done, Jeanette, compliments Sly. Mr. Cooper, she says reluctantly, you're not going to kill my father, right? Or anyone here? Well, we're gonna try very hard not to, he admits. Our main priority is to steal the comium potions. Comium potions? Is that what's being sent here tonight? Sent here tonight? Says McSweeney. Yeah, there's supposed to be a big escort of trucks from the airport to be delivered straight to the new safe, and I'm afraid I don't know the code for that. There's no way we'd be able to intercept that, I think aloud, especially since we can't get to California in time. What do the potions do, anyway? They're like a drug that makes people angry and hateful, says Carmelita. We're still figuring out a plan, but if we can obtain a warrant, that should work. I just want what's best for Ethan and his family. Jeanette leads us into the big garage, and we begin going up the floors. I try to disguise my excitement at using my feet again, because we have more pressing matters, but it's hard to do so. Our dad has hideouts throughout the country with the Order, she says. A few I've been to, and so has Penelope, but all the rest are complete unknowns. She stops, then turns back to us. Is he expecting you? Perhaps, I answer, rubbing the back of my neck. We were unable to stop the production. Your sister kind of made it trickier for us to do so. But all long stories aside, Roger Silvio was there, and from the coincidence that the plane has landed here in California, close to your home, they don't know Penelope put a tracker on the plane and that we know where it landed, so he might not be expecting us. But I think we've really stepped in his operation enough for him not to underestimate us. It would be great if you could go easy on my dad. Jeanette shrieks. What's wrong? Yelps Penelope. Jeanette falls to the ground. I felt electrocution. How? Penelope asks. I don't. Ah! She reacts again. I know what it is, she says, clutching her chest. My real self is being forced to try and wake up. They brought out the defibrillator. Murray, can you get her snapped out? I ask. I hear. I'll try. With the next apparent zap, Jeanette vanishes. Okay, that's a good sign, right? Says Penelope after a minute. Maybe I shouldn't have brought her in like this. Well, for what it's worth, says Murray, Everything feels the same as before, nothing too alarming. We should investigate that safe, says Sly. Jeanette said it was on the top floor. We keep heading up, none of us in the mood for further conversation. It was honestly brave of Jeanette to admit all of that. Her love and trust for her little sister must be monumental. We actually have to sneak by some people who are still fairly glittery, but more colored in. Penelope must recognize them a fair bit. It's pretty evident when we reach the safe. The shape of a dome and the length and width of a gymnasium, it looks big enough to hide all the gold bars in the world and impossible to break through. I see construction tape on the ground and walls, likely used for prior measurements, so it's really as brand new as it looks. I could maybe crack this, says Sly, but I don't know for sure. We should come up with a backup plan in case I can't. Maybe there's something in my dad's office. Penelope stops. Everyone, hide. Why? Whispers Carmelita. Penelope points down. Walking up towards us is a giant mouse in oily overalls and a toothy scowl. He's also the most real-looking figure I've seen in this vision so far. That's him, she murmurs. We all dive to the end of the safe situated away from him. Logically, he shouldn't be able to see us, but Penelope has such a fear of this guy, and he looks so much like us in terms of visibility, it's best we don't risk it. But we still peek. There should be some Tylenol around here, he says to himself. Workers these days have demanded it like air. Thought I raised my daughters to not faint of all things on the job, but I guess some are just too demented to watch themselves. No one says a thing as he looks around. Maybe Silvio moved them. He's a control freak even when he's on the run. Should check inside the safe first. He moves to go inside, but then his walkie-talkie buzzes. Yes? Jeanette's awake? Perfect. Nurse her back and make sure she's getting enough water. I'm on my way. This gives a response of relief from Penelope, a relief that is vanquished when out of nowhere he turns to and stares straight at us. We all practically jump out of our skin, even Carmelita and McSweeney. Penelope, he whispers evilly. What? Penelope is flabbergasted. Daddy? I wondered if I would ever see you again. He grins like he has something sinister set to blow. Keep away from her, I hear myself saying. I heard a rumor you were doing freelance for the Order. Have you seen the ways now properly? You're not getting away with this, Tongia Chitter, exclaims Carmelita. Oh, we all will be just fine. His eyes begin glowing green for a moment. Then a powerful breeze comes out of nowhere. That doesn't make sense. We're inside. And I think I also feel a different one coming from the other way, like a tornado except the hot and cold air are getting away from each other. I look to one way and I see some kind of portal. It's reminiscent of the vortexes my team and I went through when we time traveled, only these ones are green, not blue. For some reason, the gust is too light to do anything to Penelope or I, but Sly and McSweeney are sucked into one, and Carmelita the other, which is weird. Penelope and I are the lightest on the team. The portal should have picked us up the same way, if easier. It was like the portals were specifically targeting them, not us.